Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to Anime King 3. And today I'm going to be giving you part 5 of What If Naruto was neglected with the solo leveling system. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual. Share this to all of your friends on your social media platform. And also, guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was a Hidden Prodigy with 9 different elements over on Anime King 2, and enjoy that, guys. And remember, if you're new, don't forget to comment down below and go ahead and check out the other channels. All the links will be down in the description, so yeah, enjoy. So without further ado or wasting more time, what do you say we jump right into this brand new episode? Begin now, guys. So a bit of a recap from the last part. Orochimaru was afraid. Yes, the Sannin was being hunted, and he was not exactly sure by who. Someone was hunting him down, and he had no idea who it is. He could tell that it was not the Akatsuki. They would have been more noticeable by his people, but whoever this was, they left no survivors behind, time after time again. He decided to make preparations to go underground. For the time being, he will draw this person out and end them before they ruin any more of his work. Yes, he will end them once and for all. Meanwhile that was going on, Jiraiya was finally able to get some intel on Naruto. Well, he was not sure if it was Naruto, but he didn't want to get the hopes of the family up. So he was going to find out before he did anything first. But he had to find out. Naruto was not hiding, not in the slightest, as Jiraiya decided to follow the destination. It turns out that the last sightings of him was heading towards the land of Kiri, passing by the land of water, going through. There were several different islands. Jiraiya decided to go to the closest one, which was the land of Wave. While that was going on, Team 7 had their first C-rank mission that consists of Sasuke, Sakura, and Mito, and their sensei Kakashi Hatake. So with that, they made their way. They ran into the demon brothers that they were able to take them out. They soon ran into Zabuza afterwards. However, in the end, Zabuza got away. They were resting at the house while Kakashi was. They were training, preparing themselves. While that was going on, Gato had hired a strong ninja. He was known as a Crusher, a missing name from the Hidden Stone. He had hired the man to be his bodyguard. Former accomplices with the Sannin Orochimaru has been ending up dead, time after time again. He was one of them and he wanted to be protected, so he hired the best bodyguard money could buy at the moment. And now he was protected. He still had Zabuza and Haku handling the bridge builder business, but he didn't think that he was going to pay them in the slightest. Some time later, Mito came towards a nice little ramen shack. There was already a customer there. He was handsome, the first thing she noticed, but he could be the enemy. They spoke and he was a nice person, but she never got his name. He was gone. Mito had saw the children around as they were hungry, so she bought a few bowls for them, unaware that she was being watched by Naruto, as he stood there watching his younger sister. Because of Itachi, he knew exactly what they look alike. As for Itachi, he was keeping the information to himself, which he has been doing for the past couple of years, but he was worried. Naruto was not in a stable mind, and he was worried what would be the downfall of him if things are taking too far. So with that some time passed. Jiraiya finally arrived towards the land. When he arrived there though, the place was pretty much empty. So the Sannin decided to follow a single person that he saw heading towards the house. Iniri was inspiring the people along with his mother. So with that they all started to grab all sorts of things that they could fight with. Jiraiya then felt a burst of chakra. It was a Kyuubi. Mito, he thought as he rushed to the area. Arriving, Mito had just faced off against Haku. Haku revealed to her that Sasuke was not dead. The Uchiha had jumped in the way and taken all of the needles. For Mito. Mito wanted to stop Haku from doing anything stupid. It was over. However, Haku gave his life and died by Kakashi Chidori. Zabuza was left alone now. Mito came over there when Gato arrived, as she spoke to the man. She gave him something that he was lacking for some time now. As he asked her for a kunai, he was going to kill Gato until the Crusher arrived and stomped Zabuza down. He stood no chance. He died from his injuries. The Crusher then went after Mito, who was the closest. However, he was knocked away by Naruto. Jiraiya arrived as they were shocked to see him. Naruto and the Crusher start to fight. The Crusher believed that Naruto was a weakling because he could not harm him, until he suddenly collapsed bleeding. Naruto had been hitting his vital points with his chakra. While he was not suffering from the outside, he was from the inside, and his body broke down. The Crusher cursed and spat at him, calling him a weakling that he had to do tricks to take him down. When Naruto got close, the Crusher punched him with his strongest attack, but all it did was give Naruto a busted lip. The Crusher was shocked. He had pumped almost all of his power into that attack, and nothing. That is when Naruto showed him that he did not need internal injuries to kill him. One punch, that was all it took. The whole landscape was changed as the Crusher body destroyed everything. Naruto picked up a dagger and threw it. It ended the Crusher. What was remained of him though? Jiraiya called out Naruto's name, shocking Mito. That is when she realized that this was her brother. She saw it in his eyes. Before anything though, his body was taken away by a shadow. Gato was saved by Naruto's shadow. Gato was a trembling mess as he promised that he will give him everything that he desired, as long as he did not kill him. All Naruto said that he wanted was some information. Back on the bridge, it was a shocking revelation to Mito. Jiraiya had let it slip by calling Naruto's name. Mito now wanted to go home and speak to her parents immediately. We then skipped towards the Akatsuki. Sasuke's spy network had picked up on Naruto's aggression against Orochimaru. The leader believed in that this person would work well for them, given what Sasuke had found. And they were also after the Sannin as well. The only person there that knew him was Reina. Reina knew that it was Naruto, but she kept her mouth shut despite the fact that she should be telling the Akatsuki about him. But she did not say a single word though. She remained quiet. She will have to find Naruto first and speak to him before any of them found him. So yeah guys, it was basically less what left off. You guys can switch across the place, check it out for yourself. And also guys, don't forget to go ahead and check out the other what ifs over in the other channels. All the links will be down in the description. So yeah, without further ado or wasting no more time, what do you say we jump right into this? Begin now guys. We begin this episode with the Sannin. Orochimaru flipped the table. He broke the beakers. He was wrecking the lab that he was in. As he gripped at his hair in frustration and pure anger, one of the sound ninjas rushed inside, believing that something was going on. And that was a big mistake. The man was severed in half by the blade that the Sannin was now holding. The other sound ninja that rushed inside as well, following his friend, was trembling as he backed up against the wall. Get that out of here and leave. Now, Orochimaru yelled. He quickly grabbed the corpse and ran away, leaving the ground stained with blood. The Sannin was frustrated. Over a dozen of his contacts, people that he need for their fundings, and all sort of things, has been mercilessly murdered, one after another. Someone was hunting him, but now They were starting to mess with his business, his whole operation, in just a few days. Gato, someone that he had dealt with in the past, him and his entire people has been wiped away. But not just that. Day after day, countless of his people that he had contacts with were dropping like flies. All of the ones that were remaining were afraid to even speak to him, isolating him out of dealings that Orochimaru needed to keep the land of sound running and to keep his experiments booming. The Sannin was frustrated. This was worse than anything the Akatsuki has ever done. This person was hell-bent on seeing him ruined, on seeing him left at the brink of extinction and then taking his life. That was the only way that the Sannin saw it. His mind had been racking with a plan on how to find this person. And finally, he had an idea. He believed that he can kill two birds with one stone. Yes, he will have the information leak about the upcoming Chunin exams, where he was plotting to destroy Konoha. He couldn't afford for Jiraiya to find out and send word back to Minato, so he had to be very careful. However, he wanted his hunter to come there. He wanted his hunter to know about this, and there, he would use a special technique, the Edo Tensei, to not just kill Minato but to kill this person as well. A grin came on the Sannin's face. Yes, that is exactly what he will do, because right now he was desperate. If this person continued to do what they were doing, soon enough he will have no outside contact that he can use or go to. And that was not something that the Sannin liked in the slightest. He licked his lips, imagining how wonderful it would be to slaughter this person for all that he had done. And he will make it as painful as possible. Now, he had to carefully get the word out there. Through his people alone. He could knock a few heads around to make sure a few people talked to him. He knew exactly what to do. Time skip. Screaming could be heard. But you said that you would spare me. The ninja did not get to say another word, as his head was sent rolling. Standing in front of the man was Naruto. Blood splattered on his cheek. He looked around as his shadows started to return back to him. The base had been eviscerated. All had been killed. Naruto made his way as he found something rather curious. He picked it up. It was a scroll. As he held it in his hand, he examined it for traps. Before he opened it up, he read through it. It was a message from the Sannin for this outpost of his ninjas to gather their equipment and move, as he wanted them close by. He was planning an attack on Konoha. Naruto read through it. He looked down towards the man that he just ended. He was the one in charge here. More and more of these bases has been around, with several of Orochimaru's people, and several of his doctors as well. Those that are fond in experiments. He's ended 3 of them in the week alone. However, this was rather surprising. Does the Sannin take him for a fool? Naruto knew that this was meant for him. There was no doubt about that. Of course the Sannin knew what he was doing. However, he did not doubt the fact that he was going to attack Konoha, which meant the Sannin was trying to drag him out and use whatever force that he had. Use whatever force that he was planning to attack Konoha, to end him as well, to stop the hunting. It seems like he's finally had enough. That actually brought a smile to Naruto's face. It's the first time that he has smiled in a very long while, and he had no idea why. Maybe it was because the Sannin was trying to challenge his intellect, or maybe it's the fact that he was going to go to Konoha after all these years. The only sense of happiness that he seemed to have now was seeing his siblings. He's not seen Menma face to face before. He's seen Mito recently. He would like to see the both of them. Curious if they would be performing in the exams as well. However, with that being said, the Sannin was going to ruin it. Well, He could at least watch before that happened, he thought to himself. With that, Naruto left, and 5 minutes later, the whole place was set aflames, burning down to nothingness. Time skip. It was currently night time. Mito's hands came down hard on the table, so much so that she almost broke it into pieces. "You lied to us!" she screamed. "Our entire life. You lied to us, again and again. It's all been one big lie." She then ran off, rushing upstairs, right towards her room. It was followed by her door slamming shut. Minato and Kushina sat there, sad looks on their faces, when the other chair moved as Menma got to his feet. "Menma," Kushina said. But he turned his gaze away from her. He did not burst out like Mito, but his anger and disappointment was there as well, written all over his face. He'd take after his father in that regard. He simply walked away, going to see if his sister was okay, leaving the parents there, feeling ashamed. Returning back from the land of Wave, Mito had confronted the both of them. They had no choice. They had no choice but to tell them that it was a lie. Their older brother was alive. He was not dead. They did not get to explain what happened, because Mito lost her cool before they could finish talking. However, they had to. But Mito was angry, Menma was angry, to find out that Naruto was alive and out there, when their entire life they were told that he was dead, that he died a long time ago. And the fact is they would never meet him, but their parents had lied straight to their face. And Mito had seen him with her own eyes. He saved her life. He did not seem to be a bad person. And yet, for their entire life they told him that their older brother had died, and to believe that he was out there all this time. She had lost her cool and went up in a fit of rage. She took more after her mother. Her Uzumaki lineage was one to easily get upset. Menma, on the other hand, took after his father. He was more calm, but he was not going to listen to what they say. For all he knew, they were lying to them once again. Kushina got up as she just left. She seemed to want to be alone. It was not just that the kids were angry at them. Talking about Naruto has brought up certain memories that she thought that she had put to rest, and certain feelings that kept on coming back up. Certain feelings that made her feel horrible, like an unfit mother, an unfit parent. It wasn't just her though. Minato was feeling the same way. As he made his way outside, "Why didn't you tell me that you found him?" he said with anger in his tone. Emotions are high right now. The voice next to him spoke. "You just need to calm down." "Calm down? Calm down," he said, turning towards Jiraiya. "Look," Jiraiya said to him. "The last time I thought I had him, I raised both you and Kushina hopes, only to disappoint you weeks later. When I saw him, I thought maybe I was wrong, and I didn't want it to start something that I could not finish. So I kept my mouth shut and waited until I gathered enough intel. I was not even sure that was the real Naruto when I saw him on the bridge. I had to make sure. Unfortunately, your daughter was there," he said. Jiraiya sighed. "But at least now we know that he's out there. All this time you thought that he might have died. After all, he just fell off the grid. But now I know. His appearance has changed so much. The only thing I see that I recognize is his eyes. It doesn't matter how much time has passed, his eyes. They have not changed in the slightest," said the Sanin. Minato knelt down. He was feeling horrible as well. Jiraiya simply placed a hand on his shoulder, knowing that such emotions can really break one's spirit. Meanwhile, there was a knock on the door. Go away, Mito said. It's me. It was the voice of Menma. Menma stood there. It's okay if you don't want to talk, he said. But if you do, I'll be here, he said to her. Soon after, he heard footsteps and the lock being clicked open. She opened the door, tears running down her face. Menma looked at her as he simply stepped forward and embraced her in a hug. Yes, he hugged her. She hugged him back. There wasn't much tears. There was sadness, but there wasn't much. They soon disengaged as he walked inside. She closed the door as they sat on her bed. I can't believe it. After all these years, our brother is alive. Our entire life, they have done nothing but lie to us. We had the decency of not bringing it up much times because we did not want to hurt their feelings, because we saw how sad they were. They told us to our face that he died. But it was a lie. If they can lie about that, what else are they lying about? Menma placed a hand on her shoulder. I am not sure what happened all those years ago. After all, we weren't born. But there must be a reason why our brother is alive and out there, and not returning back home. You said yourself he saved your life. Yeah, he did. I thought I was going to die by that man. He was just so fast. Not even my chains could react in time. I thought it was all over. And then he was there, taking the brunt of that punch to save my life. I understand that something must have happened in the past. However, the fact that they sat down and lied to our face. They looked us in the eyes and told us that he was dead. And you and I had spoken that night. We told each other that we would no longer ask about it because we didn't want to see them sad. But it turns out that it was just one big lie. It was all fake. Nothing that they said to us was real. That is why they didn't want to go into details, telling us that our older brother had died. And now, if it wasn't for that mission, if I hadn't found out about this, we would have spent the rest of our life not knowing this. They wouldn't have told us. They would have let it bury, keeping the information away from us our entire life. How could they do that? She looked towards Menma, who released a breath. I truly do not know, he said to her, causing her to frown. Time skip. Sometime later, Mito saw all of them seated at the table. Menma nodded to her. Kushina looked towards her daughter with a pleading look on her face. A week and a half has gone by. Mito had refused to talk to either of them, for lying to them for this long, and the fact that they weren't going to tell them the truth. However, Menma had spoken to her and tell her that they at least need to hear and understand why they did what they did. Mito, believing that she was not going to like the answer anyways, had kept blowing it off time and time again. After the final talk with Menma though, she was finally going to listen. Menma himself was curious as well, so she sat down. Minato was the first to speak. The both of you are grown enough to know and understand everything. This is something that your mother and I regret since it happened. Something that we now cannot change. Something that has stuck with us since we had Naruto, Minato said with sadness in his tone. Kushina spoke next. The both of you aren't kids anymore, so we're going to tell you everything straightforward, hoping that you will understand what happened and why your brother is not here and why we had to lie to you. Had to, huh? Mito said. Just listen, said Kushina. Once we're finished, then you can talk. Mito kept her mouth quiet. We were young. The both of us were never ready to have kids. And that's it. I still wanted to continue my path as a kunoichi. And your father, he was just getting into the business of being Hokage, so neither of us was ready. There was so much on our plate, so much that we had to look forward to. And it wasn't time yet. So, he was an accident. Menma said. Minato nodded his head. As Kushina continued, Mito did not speak. The both of us was busy. We were busy a lot. I still wanted to further my career, and we tried. But time and time after again, we weren't there for him. Wait, are you saying that neither of you were there for him? Mito said. Minato nodded sadly. We were both too busy to be there for him. Something that has been on our consciousness to this day. I won't lie to either of you. We miss a lot of his birthdays. Most of the time we did not even remember. And that caused the both of us to drift apart. And things became even more problematic for him. But we never noticed. He was such a quiet child. But we tried our best. But our best was never good enough, said Minato. We were selfish back then. And because of the both of us continuous arguments, neither of us take time to look after him. Majority of the time he was by himself. So you neglected him basically, Mito said. Yes, Kushina said sadly. That is why we never wanted to talk about this. It has been with us since back then. Yeah, I'm sure the both of you are torn up about it, but what about him? How do you think he feels? Horrible, Kushina said. And don't you think we know that? We were not good parents to him. Things was getting worse and worse between us. Until we tried to solve things. It was a few weeks after that, I found out I was pregnant with you too. It was you two that brought us back together. For us to stop fighting. And understand there was more for us to look forward to. By that time, your father and I were confident in the path that we've reached. However, it was too late. On his 6th birthday, before you two were born, he ran away, leaving this. Minato pulled out a note and handed it to them. Minma was the first to read it. Mito felt her heart turn. She could only imagine how he felt. Just like when she was at the Land of Wave and she fed the kids, Mito had a really soft heart. Tears started to come to her eyes as she started to cry. She could only imagine her 6-year-old older brother feeling neglected and alone, feeling like he had no place. In the letter, he wanted the family to be happy without him because he believed that it wasn't his family as well. Even Menma had to bring a hand up to wipe the tear that came to his eyes. Kushina started to cry as well. Seeing the tears, she felt defeated. Mito glanced up towards her parents, now feeling remorse. As she looked at the both of them, she could understand that they were young, inexperienced, but that did not justify most of their actions, missing their own son's birthday. However, she understood that the past cannot be changed. But she did realize something. By their action, Naruto might have grown up and scorned and hated them, his siblings, for taking his place, but that was not the issue. He saved their life. That meant there was still hope. They could get their brother back. There still might be chance of him returning, because she could not go on knowing that. He felt that way, and what he's been through. He had a family that loves him, and cure the world for him. All they had to do was find him. There is still a chance. All of them turned their gaze towards Menma that spoke. His mindset was the same. As he looked towards both of his parents, what happened was horrible, he said. However, he doesn't hate us. He saved Mito's life. If he did, he wouldn't have done anything and allowed her to get hurt, but no, he jumped in and saved her. So there might still be a chance for him to be brought back home and for us to fix this rift in our family, Menma said. As Minato and Kushina looked up towards him, Mito got up. He's right. I saw the look in his eyes. The way he looked at me. The sadness. I don't want him being out there thinking that he doesn't have a family. Do you too? She said, looking at them. Of course not, Kushina said. We've tried our hardest. We actually thought that he had died in the years that went by. But he's changed a lot. Well, it doesn't matter now that we know that he's alive. We can do something about it, said Mito. As Minato nodded in agreement. Yes, we can, he said. Things are different now. Before, they had no idea if he was still alive. And they could not send out a search party because what would they be searching for? However, Jiraiya was getting closer. Because Jiraiya had told them that Naruto was not trying that hard to hide himself. It was like he wants someone to find him. Maybe not them, but someone else. However, they still had a chance. They can once again reunite with their brother. The next time she sees him, she will make him talk. She will talk to him, Mito thought to herself. Time skip. Walking down an empty road was Naruto. His face was rather calm. Despite the place being rather hot, he did not seem to be affected by the heat. Because of the system his body is well developed to handle harsh and horrible environments, cold, heat, anything. As he made his way toward his next destination. However, he was being followed from above. Slowly but surely, the person decided to reveal himself. A giant white clay bird. First jumping down was a man. However, he did not seem like a man. His body was hunched over. He was like a beetle of sorts. A scorpion to be exact. As something was moving at the back, almost like a tail. On top of the bird was another individual. Blonde hair covering one of his eyes. The both of them were in the same clothing. Black cloaks, red clothes on them. So this is him, huh, Sasori? The blonde spoke up. Yes, this is him. I must say, for someone that seems rather dangerous, you're rather easy to find, Sasori said. Who said I'm hiding? Naruto asked him. Well, that seemed to be the case. I've recently discovered your attacks on the snake Sanin. You're driving everything of his into the ground. One after another, if I'm not mistaken. Countless has fallen by your hands recently. All of them being connected to the Sanin in a way. And why do you care, Naruto asks. Well, that's simple. Deidara was still on his bird. Our organization is also after the Sanin as well. And our leader would like to speak with you. Let me guess. He wants to extend the olive branch for me to join this organization quick as well. That's good. At least you're not like some of the other buffoons. Yeah, he's not, Deidara said. Wait, who exactly are you talking about? If you don't know the answer, then you're one of them. Hey, Deidara said. Naruto turned as he started to walk away. Hey, where do you think you're going? Deidara flew in front of him. We're not done talking yet. I'm afraid I have no interest in joining your organization. Well, we're afraid that it was not Question. More like a demand for you to come with us. Our leader shall let you know what further beyond this. And I'm afraid I was not asking your permission to leave. Naruto said as he kept on walking. Come on now. We don't have to make this bloody. After all, soon enough we will be part of the same group. We can be friends. Because most of them are jackass. Especially the lightning bitch. Deidara said. As Naruto looked at him. You like to talk, don't you? I can see why your people don't like you that much. Hey, watch it, pal. Unless you want me to show you my art. Naruto released a breath. Recently, I've seemed to have run out of patience really quickly. Maybe it's because Naruto did not finish his sentence as he appeared above Deidara. The S-rank missing Nin was ready for it though, releasing 2 tiny bombs from his hand. It was 2 beetles that fly towards Naruto's face. As Naruto's eyes looked over them, the system found their weakness. Slice. Electricity. Deidara was shocked, as Naruto's system had the ability to tell him the weakness of different attacks. It was mainly the elemental attacks, like what would chump fire, well, water. And just like that, however, these creations, they were affected greatly by lightning. Deidara was surprised, shocked, that someone could figure his technique out so quickly. He flew back on his bird, releasing several spiders. A dagger appeared in Naruto's hand. Dagger rush, he said, as he threw said dagger. The moment it left his hand, a blue flash could be seen. All of the spiders were destroyed in 1 second. This rank ninja was shocked by that, not expecting his spiders to be dealt with so quickly. That is when a barrage of needles start to be fired at Naruto. The poison should be enough to take him down for now. However, with one hand, Naruto pulled out a sword out of the system. To Sasuke's view, it was pulled out of thin air. Naruto deflected every single needle, his eyes able to catch each and every one of them at the precise angle and the speed as well. So all of them were deflected without even a second thought. Sasuke sent the bird spiraling downwards. This guy was tough, he could handle this. Cuts! Boom! An explosion swallowed the entire area. You idiot! We were not sent here to kill him, Deidara said. Come on. My art wasn't so bad. And if that was enough to take him down, do we really want him a part of our organization? That is not your call. Sasuke said to him. When the smoke cleared, they saw something on the ground. It was like a broken shadow in pieces. Like a human body that was exploded but in shadow form. The pieces then rushed back over towards Naruto, who was standing a distance away perfectly fine. Naruto had saw places with a shadow that he had sent out the moment that he saw these 2. He had 10 shadows that were his elites. They were stronger than the others. The other weaker ones was from sound ninjas and all sorts of ninjas that weren't too strong. However, they were just used as quantity over quality. He had a lot of those, but they were weak, easily to destroy. However, they could not be killed, because the moment they were destroyed, they simply returned back to him. And after a while of resting, he could use them once again. Not him resting though, the shadow being. Yes, so that was it. He was completely fine. Not even a single scratch on him. See, Sasuke? He's not that weak, said Deidara. So we won't have to worry about accidentally killing him by mistake. So we don't have to hold back that much, I suppose. I could show him my art. After all, having someone else in the organization that understands true art is something that we inspire to find. Who the hell told you that? Sasuke asks. Well, that is my dream of a perfect organization. Sasuke's earring picked up on something. The next moment, Both of them saw it. However, Deidara spun around and quickly released a giant spider out of his hand that his hand mode had been quickly eaten at. However, Naruto's blade tore through it, disabling it with lightning. The blade was inches away from him. That is when he was yanked away by Sasori threads. Sasori had attached his threads to Deidara like a puppet and pulled him out of the way. Naruto split the bird in half, but he was not done as he swung his blade. His blade cleaved through the air. Sasori dragged Deidara out of the sky. However, to his surprise, the blade was able to cut right through his threads. Deidara started to fall as Naruto appeared above him without his blade and dropped a kick in his chest. Blood exploded out of Deidara's mouth. He was dropped like a bomb. Boom! He slammed into the ground with tremendous force. Dust filled the entire place. Sasori couldn't see a damn. However, Naruto rematerialized in front of him and grabbed his blade. However, Sasori's tail shot out and slammed into Naruto's shoulder, ejecting a large amount of poison. It was over, Sasori thought. However, he was dead wrong as Naruto's blade was still coming down. He was forced to exit through the back of his puppet. When the tip of Naruto's blade touched the head of Hiriko, his puppet, there was a blinding light to show the amount of power that Naruto had sent out to eviscerate him from the face of the earth. The whole area sunk down. 3 levels. Trees and plants were uprooted. The body of Deidara was launched by the force. He slammed through several trees and slammed into a large rock. Deidara was momentarily paralyzed from his spine, making such a heavily contact down to the earth. He could not move. It seemed temporary, because every single move that he made, shooting pain would course through his back. Sasori was now outside. However, he did not get a time to revel in the freedom that he now had. The moment his eyes adjust, he had to raise his hand. The bark of the puppet hand exploded into pieces as Naruto kicked right through it. Sasori jumped back, using pieces of Hiriko to launch at Naruto's face to buy him some distance. That is when Deidara arrived on top of his bird. He was lying down. He still could not fully pull himself up. Sasori leaped on top of the bird. "I told you to," said Naruto. "My patience start to run really thin as of late. And now you dare stand here wasting my time. I don't want to be a part of your organization. I'm gonna make sure your deaths tell them that." Naruto lifted his blade into the sky. Purple energy started to spiral all over him. Clouds started to gather. The place started to become dark. "We have to leave," Sasori said. Deidara looked up towards him. "Now!" Sasori commanded his bird as they took to the skies, flying as fast as possible to get out of there. The further they got, the more they saw the power lessen. "Who the hell was that?" said Deidara. He tried to move as he winced out in pain. Sasori was quiet, his broken arm hanging at his side. He was perplexed, completely shocked by what just happened. To think, there were still people out there that was this powerful that him or the organization did not even know about. Just who was this individual? However, there was one thing that was certain. If he got his hands on Orochimaru, the Sannin was good as dead. Back down below, as Naruto stabbed his blade down into the ground, it started to break apart into blue light. As it vanished away, he looked around at the destroyed area. He then turned his gaze toward his shoulder. Purple blood, as his normal blood was mixed with a heavy dose of poison, was leaking out of his shoulder. There was so much that it turned his blood purple. However, the system had forced it out. The system would not allow him to get poisoned. His body had become almost immune to every poison. After being hit with poisons over the years, this one was strong, but his body was still able to fight it off quickly. The wound started to heal up. Those people were strong. They underestimated him, that is why he was able to put them down so quickly. However, even in a fair fight, he would win, but still they were stronger than he thought. They were a part of an organization. He wondered, who could be leading an organization as that? He had heard some rumors about this group of powerful ninjas going around, because he was in the business of doing things for people as well, missions, and all sorts of things. Speaking of, it's been a very long time since he had on a mission. However, what was the point? He felt so empty. He didn't even want to do anything. Just continue his conquest of making sure the Sanin suffer. After all, if he did not focus on that 100%, he feel like he would go crazy as he continued on about his day, like nothing had just happened at all. Time skip. Laughter could be heard. So he really kicked your ass, huh? The voice was coming from Kisame, a former member of the Seven Ninja Swordsmen, as he was laughing at Sasori, who had just reported back in about their failed attempt of recruiting another member. The both of you against him alone, and yet he sent the both of you packing. I must say, that's one big disappointment. Kisame continued to laugh. Hey, shark face, you weren't there. You had no idea what the hell happened. Deidara chimed in. As they started to argue, that's enough. The leader spoke up as they all went quiet. From what you have said, this individual is stronger than we thought. All I want you to do now, Sasori, is use your network and monitor him, so we're to leave him be. Sasori asks, for the moment, why don't you send us to take a shot at him? Kisame spoke up. After all, I'm sure our little shot at him won't be that disappointing. He received a glare from Deidara. No one else will go after him until I say so. For now, you're dismissed. Continue what you're currently doing. With that, he flickered away. A distance away, Kisame opened his eyes. Hey, is something wrong with you? He said, looking over toward his partner, Reina. What? No, why do you ask? Usually, you would be chiming in to mock Deidara as well, but you were so quiet. Hidan wasn't even here, so I could not even get him to chime in as well, as they were currently involved at the moment in a special mission for the organization, so they could not make the call. And I was alone out there, he said to her, wondering what was on her mind. It's nothing, she said. I'll mock him another time. If you say so. With that, they started to walk. A small smile was on Reina's face. She knew it. She had a small bit of doubt, but she knew. It doesn't matter who he sent after Naruto. Prior himself not going, there was no one else. She looked down towards her hands. She was not even sure if she could beat him. However, if she was sent after him, could she really muster up the courage to kill him? Despite the both of them not being close, like one would think of a close friendship, it was different. The both of them had mutual respect for one another. And if she was sent to kill him, could she do it? However, there was another problem as well. She was not sure if she had the power to kill him. And then again, she was an S-rank missing ninja with an immense amount of power. However, times had changed. He's gotten stronger. So have she. She was not sure how the battle between him and the leader would go. The leader would probably win, she thought to herself. However, the problem was, she's never seen Naruto at his fullest. She faced the leader before, and she knew that he was someone that she could not beat, especially with those eyes. Those all-powerful eyes. She wondered how would Naruto do against them. Yes, that would be a truly interesting fight, she thought to herself. However, she would not get to know. She would have to find some time to go and speak with him, as she couldn't believe that they beat her to it. However, if she had told Naruto about this, there wasn't much that would have changed anyway. Time skip. At Konoha, down in the crevice, Danzo Shamura was sitting, as he was currently thinking over his recent choices. Danzo knew of the invasion that was coming to Konoha. Yes, he did. After all, he was a part of this invasion. He was the inside man, a quiet person. Hiruzen Sarutobi had let Danzo get away with many things. However, Hiruzen was now gone, and Minato was a man of action. That is why Danzo did not decide to make a move against the Uchihas. The first thing was, he had killed Shisui Uchiha and taken his eye. Minato had suspected him of this. Minato did not outright claim that he believed that he was the one behind it, but there was an underlying threat that was there. The man also warned him after he was able to speak to the Uchihas, that being Fukaku and the elders. He had came face to face with him. The man had just walked straight up to him. Danzo was surprised and warned him that if he did anything to mess with the peace that was going on with the Uchihas in the village, that he would personally put an end to him. Danzo had no choice but to back down on his actions. Minato even knew about his root agents, and that they were performing outside of the village. Minato allowed him to do this because Danzo was actually helping the village with his underhanded actions that normal ninjas would not do or could not stomach to do. So Minato had not said anything about that. However, regarding anything that happened inside of Konoha, Danzo could not make a move without Minato eyes on him. So he had no choice but to get the man killed. It was the only way he see things going in his favor and getting that Kyuubi under his control. Once that was done, he will be the one to lead this village. Orochimaru claimed that he had what it takes to kill Minato. Not himself, of course, something else. So yes, Danzo was in on it as well. He of course heard about someone hunting the Sannin, but he hoped that the man could take care of that on his own means after all. He did not want that interfering with their plan that they were currently cooking up with inside of Konoha. The Chunin exams was right around the corner, and everything was set. Soon enough, Minato Namikaze, despite his great power that he had, he would put to rest. Danzo hated that he had to kill someone so powerful that served Konoha, but it was the only way to restructure the village into what he see as a future vision, to make all the other nations bow to their will, to make the elemental nation bow to his feet. It was the only way Danzo saw things playing out. It had to be done. No if or buts about it. Time skip. Things are still a bit shaky, but it wasn't as bad as it was when she just found out. Or when he just found out either. Menma and Mito, while they did not like what their parents did, they realized that they could not do anything about it, because it was in the past. They just had to move on with their life. That was the only way that they see things going back to some sort of normalcy. Yes, that was the only way. So for now, all they had to do was move on and do what they had to do to make sure that they bring their big brother home. So with that, they start to return back to their normal doings. Time passed by really quickly as they started to train and prepare themselves and getting ready for what is to come. And it was finally time. Their senseis had nominated the both of them for the exams, and they were ready for it. Ami was excited as she wanted to be an Anvu just like her sister and follow in her sister's footsteps. As for Raikou, well, he was pretty laid back. However, he was looking forward to rise up in the shinobi ranks. But he could go with it or without, it seems. But that was just his personality. On the inside, he wanted to become a upstanding shinobi of the village, just like his older brother. And Menma was going into this with a mindset of achieving greatness. Menma has not truly figured out what he wants in life just of yet. He's still dabbling with ideas. If he wanted to be some kind of Kage or whatnot. His mindset was not fully made up. Mito knew what she wanted to be since she was just a small child. And that was to be the greatest female Hokage in the entire elemental nation. Out of any other Kages, she was going to be the first greatest female Kage. And that was a promise. She was going to take the title from her father. And the whole world shall know her name. At the moment, Mito just watched as the red-haired boy made his way away from her. They just had an altercation. His name was Gar. And he was looking forward to seeing her in the exams. So with that, she proceeded forward. Meanwhile, with Orochimaru, the Sound Four surrounded him. As he looked down towards the ground, in front of them was a dead Raza, who was the Kazekage. The Kazekage had been having second thoughts. Yes. And today he was getting more jumpy about going through with this, fearing the retaliation from the Leaf, more so of Minato, the man that is said to have killed over 1,000 people in a few minutes. Well, it is true, so yes, there was a lot of fear coming from the man. Orochimaru knew that he would spoil things. He was plotting on this from the beginning. So they slaughtered him. As they watched as the sand covered his body, him and his guards. We're moving on to plan B, Orochimaru said. Orochimaru was not going to be attending the exams. There was many Uchihas within the village. Danzo and him had a nice conversation. Danzo will be handing a few Uchihas over to him once everything was over, so that he could have his fill. The Uchihas has become rather secluded and keeping their members from straying. That had pissed off Danzo as well because he wanted to perform a little experiment on himself, having the Uchiha's eyes embedded into a special hand. From a man known as Shin, his body could adapt and handle the stress of the Uchiha eye, unlike one Kakashi Hatake. However, Danzo could not do that because he did not get what he wanted, to put the Uchihas out of commission because of Minato. Another reason why he wanted him dead. So right now Orochimaru had no qualms about going to Konoha. He will be there in the finals when he will launch the attack. However, it wasn't just him and the Hidden Sun alone. He had more people, enemies of Minato. He had gathered quite a lot of them. As the Sannin walked in the desert, he glanced up as he was frightened for a moment. He could swear that he saw someone looking down at him. However, it seems that his nerves were getting the better of him about this hunter. Meanwhile, sitting in a tree, close towards the border that head towards the Land of Wind, where the Hidden Sun was located, a shadow rushed towards Naruto and fused with his. Naruto's eyes then opened up. He had made sure to keep an eye out. He had several shadows on the hunt, watching, observing. And it seems that the Sannin had just made a move. The Kazekage was now dead. However, Naruto would be keeping this to himself. He did not fear the Sand Army, or the Sound Army. He had enough to eviscerate every single one of them. And he wanted Orochimaru to see that. He wanted him to feel the fear. He wanted him to start to panic even more as he watched his invasion go up in smokes. And he was sure that his father would be prepared for anything to happen within the finals. He was a smart man after all. However, if he did not say something in the end, the Sand and Konoha might clash and lead to countless dying. As he talked about that and felt inside of himself, he felt nothing. He could do without or just move on. It seems like what he believed was now confirmed. When Gurren died, his emotions also died. The only person that he was thinking about, well, two people to be quite exact, was his brother and sister. His mother and father not even pop into his head. He knew that they could also die by this collision, so in the end, he will allow them to find the body of the Kazekage and tell them what happened in his own way. That they were forced into this by the Sanin. However, they should figure that out. But if there are any complications about believing them, he will make sure that they believe. However, by the end of the Chunin exams, he will make sure that Orochimaru of the Sanin understand what true fear is. He will make sure that the man last moments on this earth is one of panic, suffering, chaos, and agonizing pain. He will burn everything that he has. He will incinerate the entire land of Sound. He will wipe the entire existence of that land and its people off the face of this earth. He will bathe the whole town in blood. As he walked, his dark blue eyes were glistening with power. But guys, if you ain't subscribed right here, if you want to see next part and do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on that bell notification to stay posted. Remember, share to all of your friends in your social media platform. And also guys, don't forget to go ahead and comment over on anime symbol if you want your what if to be done by me. Just comment on the latest video over there, guys. So without further ado, wasting more time, let's get out of here. See you guys soon. Peace.